Okay guys, this is part 3 of America's supervolcano. And they're messing with the lighting. But, okay, so I'm just going to try to recap some things because I'm having a lot of difficulty getting information to you guys. If you want to get some more information, you can look on my Facebook under Jamie Clementine. And I have various things on there that I've done. I have a list of, it hasn't been updated in about 3 or 4 days, but I have a list of all the cities that have been affected by the quake swarms. I have a daily report of earthquakes in this swarm, and that way you can see how serious this is. In the first video, if you would watch that, it's a great precursor to this video so you can understand where we're at. But in the first video, what I had been shown was that it was basically exploding in different directions and trying to work its way through. Okay, so since that time, at that time there had only been maybe 5, 6, 7 cities that it had affected. Since that time, it's been well over a month. So I just want to kind of explain this to you, just so you know how serious this is, okay? And it's gotten to the point where we're having surface rupture ejections, which is basically a volcanic eruption of like an effusion, not a full-blown eruption like a pyroclastic. Some of them may be pyroclastic, but they may be small. We've had some that were up to over 2 miles high above the surface. Yesterday we had one in Montana that was over 2 miles high. I'm checking fires everywhere, and they're calling them fires. They're popping up. San Diego had a couple yesterday. All these towns down here have now at some point been hit by these quake swarms in the south. I'm just going to kind of go through the state and just show you these. I tried to pull up my other mapping on Google, and they blocked the map from coming up, so I'm using this other system for now. Ocotillo has had the swarms, and some of these places like Imperial, there's been some huge fires. There's a lot of magma showing on the chart there, and it has been. There's been, I think they had a surface rupture there the other day. These places also have been hit by the swarms. Glamis has been having water intrusion. We've had at least 7 events that I've caught, maybe more, where water was intruding in all of Southern California and also in Northern California. Westmoreland's had quite a few quake swarms, Salton City, all these areas here. Borrego Springs has had quite a few. La Quinta, interestingly enough, just started having them, and recently, and they are built in a caldera. I don't know if this particular map will show it. I have another one where it will actually show clearer, but the whole city is built in the middle of a caldera. Indio's had them. Coachella is having them, and Thermal, all these areas. So Joshua Tree's having them. Okay, I don't want to go too far east yet, but I'm just trying to show you that this is, it hasn't gone. Calipatria's had them. Gone all the way here. I don't want to go all the way to Arizona just yet. Okay. Blythe, right here. They are having major subsidence events. And that is where the ground is collapsing underneath. They've been on there repeatedly, daily, subsidence events. And they're not minor on that one. You know, thankfully we're not seeing a ton of subsidence yet, but I'm sure that's going to start popping up. I have seen it on multiple charts, though, and I'll point those out as we go through. Okay, Vital Junction. The chart has a lot of little magma spikes going on. So Rice has had some of the quakes. I don't think these 2 cities have. I haven't seen them on there. But again, I couldn't stay awake 24 hours a day to check this. And what I have found is I have to go to about 10 different sites to get the actual accurate earthquake projections for the day, because no one site has all of the quakes. They're all spread out. 29 Palms has had quite a few quake swarms. Joshua Tree, like I said, Desert Heights, Yucca Valley has been having them. I haven't seen these two cities in there. Big Bear's been having them. Banning it, Cabazon, Beaumont, San Jacinto. Let me go down here and make sure I got everything. Anza. Pinion, there's been a few subsidence events there too. Palm Springs has had them. Cathedral City's had them. All these towns here. I just want to make sure I include everything, you guys. San Felipe, yes. Julian, and I have, like I said, a list of cities on my wall. You might have to scroll back. I have a lot of information on there. I'm going to keep going through here just to show you how widespread this has gotten. Okay, we've had a bluff collapse in Encinitas, killed 3 people. Large rock fell. The Paula, I don't think I've seen too much on that chart. This little stretch here seems to be okay right now. Aguanga has had them. Cahuilla, I might pronounce these wrong too, you guys. I'm sorry, but they've had them. Anza, I already mentioned. Glen Oak Hills, Murrieta, Wildemar, Lake Elsinore is having quite a few. Winchester, I don't know if that one was on there or not. Okay, let me see. Calamasa, Moreno Valley, Redlands, yes. Mead Valley, El Cerrito, Dana Point has had them. I don't know if these towns have here. Yorba Linda's had them. Fullerton's had them. Bria's been on there. Chino chart has had a lot of magma pressure off and on, and there's a lot of spikes and quake swarms, and then all of a sudden it will flare. And they have had multiple fires that they call fires, but they're actually volcanic effusion. Ontario as well. Rancho Cucamundo, Lytle Creek, Mount Baldy. Mount Baldy, the chart hasn't shown too much, but there are a few little tiny spikes. Pinion Hills, Falon's been on there at one point. Hesperia, Victorville. Now the Victorville chart just recently started showing magma spikes. So these are, when I start seeing the magma spikes on the chart, I know that it's very capable to flare or to erupt to the surface, and it's been systematically doing that. I've been seeing fires come up. So what that tells me is that we are able, with the magma charts, to determine the areas of danger and warn people. However, that's not been being done, other than by, like, you know, people like Mary Greeley and other people like that, Dutch Cincy or whatever, you know, people that do that on their own. I've been warning for a long time, for about 10 years. There's been some swarms over here. I think they actually had a surface rupture ejection over here somewhere too. I've been keeping track of those as well. Subsidence events and water intrusion, just to try to show the full scope of what's going on, because for the most part, Californians aren't being told, and they're kind of being told, hey, it's just, you know, aftershocks, blah, blah, blah. They think it's similar to what always has happened, but this is not similar. This is a serious situation that is capable of great damage, and I really feel that people in California need to think about their safety and possibly leave. Going this way. Okay, we're getting into the LA area, and there have been multiple incidents of fires and things and lava on charts. There's one college up here in Pasadena, and they have the weirdest charts ever. I would like to get someone's opinion on it because I've never seen it before. But I mean, they have just had some of the most bizarre charts right in this area I have ever seen. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to interpret it, frankly. But I didn't know how to interpret one thing on here until it hit everywhere, and then I realized it was water intrusion. Inglewood has had quake swarms. Santa Monica's had magma spikes on their charts. Glendale's had a few things. So, I mean, the Acton, and it started up in the hills and worked its way down, just systematically, kind of like the first video mentioned. I haven't seen any Lancaster yet. Those towns aren't on there. So that must be real dense rock that's bypassing. 3 Points has been on there. Castaic Lake has been on there, and also their chart shows magma, it shows water intrusion, it shows subsidence. Valverde's been on there. Santa Clarita's been on there. Forest Park has been on there. In this area, there's been a few things. Malibu has had them. They've been on the quake swarms. There's been magma. There's been a quake swarm here in Camarillo. Santa Paula has had them. Fillmore has had them. Peru has had them. So this whole area has had the swarms, and also there's one town over here called Moore Park, which it's not showing on here. There it is. Moore Park has shown a lot of magma for weeks. I've been warning about that one for weeks, and they have had some fires, or so-called fires. Okay, Santa Paula we already discussed. I think El Rio had one. Haven't had any in Ventura yet that I've seen. Like I said, I couldn't stay awake 24 hours a day to catch these, because once they scroll off, you're done. You can't see them again. OJI has had them, if that's how you pronounce that. Wheeler Springs has been on there. Just trying to go through. Lebec has had them. Gorman has had them. So, and those were before the other ones down low. So I'm just trying to show you how widespread this has become. Grapevine has had them. Wheeler Ridge, I'm not sure if I've seen that one on there. And if I haven't seen it on the list, I'm not going to mention the city, just because I don't want, I can't prove it. I don't have the chart or whatever. But I'm certain some of these have probably been on there and I just missed it. Arvin, the chart shows a minor quake, magma spikes, and what I'm finding is some of these magma spikes that look very minor to me, I've learned this through this process, is that they are very serious. They're causing fires. For instance, when we get up north, I'll show you Bollinger Canyon, and Bollinger Canyon had, the chart had some magma. I knew it was magma, but it didn't look real flared up or anything, so I didn't think much of it. Next thing you know, there's 5 fires there. So even the little spikes, one speck on those charts that's a magma spike is capable of damage. Carpinteria has had them. We've had a few fires in Santa Rita. Santa Barbara. Hope Ranch has had the quakes. There's some subsidence there. I think Isla Vista has been on there as well. These are, the thing about this is, as much as this has swarmed in the Searles Valley area, you guys, Maricopa's been on there. You got to realize that rock is breaking down, okay? There's only so much quake shaking and explosions and everything that one area can take before it collapses. And I'm very concerned about that, because if the backside collapses, the people on the west are not going to be able to get out. So Bakersfield, some new information I found out was that, and I can't quote the company because there's several companies, but I cannot remember the exact company, but they had spilled 855,000 gallons of oil underground. They had some kind of oil leak on top of this. I think it was like the third week in July. So this is after this other event started. So now you have an underground eruption, you have magma, you have gases, you have explosivity. Add oil to that, it's not a good combination. And so some of the intrusion on that I thought was water could be oil. I'm not certain. It could be both. But it's definitely, there's been some serious incidents with that. So that tells me the rock is breaking down and water is starting to come in from the ocean, which is not a good thing, you guys, obviously. Camp Nelson has had some. I'm trying to find, hang on. I'm not used to this mapping. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's go back to the original spot of the incident. We had the Ridgecrest earthquake of 6.4. We had one in Searles of 6.4. 2 minutes apart, 19 miles apart. One of them was deleted. I do have the proof of that. It's on my wall if you want to look. Rand has had quake swarms. Garlock, which is a fault. And while we're here, I'm going to tell you about a dream, which I'm not going to go into too much detail. It's on my wall. It's very compelling information. A man in 1937 had a dream about this incident, and in the dream, basically California went into the ocean. He prophesied about 10 different things that are modern day that I caught that are very, very compelling that this dream is of God. And because I've also had dreams, I took that dream to heart deeply, and you will see that when you look at the way I've analyzed his dream and brought some things out, because this event has been concerning him in me even before I saw that dream. Once I saw that dream, I was very troubled, because he also prophesied Italy having a volcanic eruption before or after this, and Italy had just recently had a volcano come to life and start erupting again. Also, he talked about New York having more water and or being, I don't remember his wording. You have to read the dream. But New York just had a flood, which is rare. So, I mean, these events, it seems like everything's coming together that matches dream, and it's pretty troubling, and I'm concerned for people's lives. Mojave has had them. Edwards has had them. Rich has had them. Boron has had them. Kramer Junction. Let's see what else we got over here. Adelanto has had them. Okay, let's go back. Copper City has had them. Atolia has had them. Randsburg has had them. And I'm just telling you the cities that have been hit with these quake swarms. They start out as little one-pointers. So you're probably not going to see them on many earthquake lists. But they are having multiple ones. Once they get hit with one, they get hit with 2, 3, 4, 5. Some of them only have a handful. Some of them have many. And it may last for days. Some of them have had surface eruptions. And I mentioned that on the last video too, because it hadn't started surface erupting. But we have had numerous surface eruptions since I did that video. And I have some tracking of it for, on some reports. But I haven't been tracking all of them. But there has been numerous surface rupture ejection events in Searles, in Ridgecrest, in Little Lake. Garlock is a fault. And that's the fault the guy mentions in his dream. Again, we went through this last time, but these towns also have had them. Little Lake has had a lot. I mean, it has been very explosive in the Little Lake area for some reason, and Coso. So it's really been going there. A lot of surface rupture events. Some of them are just break the surface, and some are ejecting quite high. So Olancha also has had surface rupture ejection events. Mammoth, which we're crawling up the hill to Mammoth here right now. Lone Pine has had some. Manzanar's had quake swarms. Independence. And this is all the back of Inyo craters here. Okay. Big Pine has had some. Bishop. Okay, I'm just going through here, guys. Tom's Place has had surface rupture ejection events and quake swarms as well. And a lot of these towns, like I'm noticing, as soon as the quake swarms hit, they either have a fire or they have a surface rupture ejection event. Some of them aren't being shown on the quake lists, I'm sure. But this area, you know, is starting to wake up quite a bit over here, you guys. And this is a pretty big supervolcano or section of the big volcano. Oakhurst has had them. I think that's the only one over here. I think Mariposa was on there, but I can't be certain on that one, you guys. I might have to do a couple videos on this because it's getting pretty lengthy. But Fresno's had a couple fires. Fresno's also had quake swarms. Visalia has had some. Exeter has been on there. Ivanhoe's been on there. Oops. This has been a very troubling event. Porterville's had them. Some minor ones. Let's work our way over here. They call this Death Valley for a reason, you guys. I just really believe that people, it's an hour that people need to get out. California just raised the property taxes again. They're actually arresting people for some of these fires too. Lompoc has had some things go on there. That's been on my warning list recently. Because I mean, you got to realize I'm watching these and I'm seeing clean charts, and then all of a sudden they start spiking a little bit, and pretty soon they got a bunch of spikes, and then pretty soon they're full-fledged magma. There's a couple places in LA that have quite a bit of magma. Hollywood has had a few spikes here and there. You know, they have tiny magma spikes, and then all of a sudden it gets bigger. Cayucos has had them. And Atascadero. Okay, now we're getting into Highway 101, and we're in the region now of the San Andreas fault line, okay? And all of these towns all along here have had the quake swarms. Lake Nasimen, I can't pronounce it. This thing has had them. San Simeon has had some. All through here. The Lockwood chart's starting to show magma just recently as well. So, I mean, San Benito has had them. All these towns up and down Highway 101. Idria, Parkfield also, and Kalami, this whole area, Shandon, they've had quake swarms. Avenal, Murray's been on there. Coalinga's been on there. I mean, so you can see I'm going very slowly through these towns, and there's a good portion of them that have had these quake swarms, you guys. It's very serious, and that's what I said on that first video, but I'm even more imploring that now, because it's actually happening the way that, you know, going in every direction and stuff that I was showing you. San Benito, Soledad has had a couple surface rupture events. King City has had quake swarms. All of these have had quake swarms, and several of them have had surface rupture ejection events. There's been quake swarms here. There's been quake swarms here. There's been a couple fire incidents over in Big Sur. This whole peninsula has the Salinas chart shows a lot of magma, you guys. The whole San Juan grade chart is packed with magma, and it has been for this entire event. And I've been warning about it. Well, now they're having fires all through here, etc. So it's moving. It's on the move, and it's a precarious situation, in my opinion. Gilroy's had them. Morgan Hill's had them. San Jose's been having all kinds of fires come up. I don't know if Scotts Valley has had them. Pescadero chart shows quite a bit of magma spikes and little quake swarms, although they don't show quakes on the list. I don't think they've been on the list, but their chart shows stuff going on, a lot of stuff, and the impact of what this is doing. Paso Robles I mentioned back there. Okay, so when you get in over here, we've got three charts that you can, three magma charts you can look at. One of them is Milpitas, okay, and that one shows, it looks on the chart like minor magma, you know, spikes, but there have been multiple fires through here, you guys, multiple. So I'm telling you, when you see a little speck on those charts, it is no joke when it's shallow, okay. Pleasanton, and then we're up in the Bollinger Canyon area now, and the chart up here, you guys, showed, you know, some you know, minor spikes, didn't look like much. Like I said, they've had fires here, they've had them on 580, 680, Alameda, Livermore has had quake swarms, San Ramon just had a quake swarm, so they're having issues. Berkeley has had magma and some swarms. The San Bruno chart up here near San Francisco has been down this entire event. There's quite a few charts that are down. In fact, down by Bakersfield, all three of those charts are down where the spill was. How are you supposed to tell anything going on if the whole region, all 3 or 4 charts are down? Sunset Peak above LA also has shown quite a few magma spikes and different things going on there. Vallejo just started getting quake swarms yesterday. And now we're getting up into this northern area, and this is where it gets very serious because this is a whole different animal up here. Okay, I watched these charts over here by Yuba City. Where are we at? I need to go up more. There's a few charts up here by Yuba City. Colfax has had quake swarms. Forest Hill, Lincoln, Placerville. This whole area up here, I've watched those. Oh, here's Yuba City. Okay, the charts kind of curve up through here. And you guys, they all show magma. And it wasn't like that. They were all real clean looking charts. No problems. Other than the dam, the Oroville Dam, the other charts all show magma. And they show magma spikes, etc. And these towns are you know, in an area where it's not going to be easy to get out. Hidden Valley Lake has had quake swarms. Yountville, oh no, wait, not Yountville. Sonoma, oh my God, you guys, the chart up here has been, you can see magma moving, and it doesn't always flare here, but it's definitely moving through the region. Well, it flares off and on, and I've checked it, and some days it's flaring, some days it's not. But this is where the Santa Rosa fire came up, you guys. I don't know what year that was, within the last couple years. And it was a very serious fire. That was magmatic, okay? There's a lot of magma moving through this region. Gurnerville's been on there. Cloverdale, their charts just recently started having a lot of subsidence, a lot of magma stuff going on. Sea Ranch chart has been down this entire event. So I don't know what's going on over there. God only knows. Let's see. Arbuckle's been on there. Now we're in the Clear Lake region. This is another, you know, classified as a volcano, but this is just one spot where it's blown. Lower Lake has had the swarms. Clear Lake itself has had quake swarms. Lakeport, Upper Lake has had them. I believe, I don't know if I've seen Nice on there or not. Ukiah just had a fire, supposed fire, yesterday, I believe. Boonville's been on the charts. And you guys, there's been water intrusion events all up here. All the way inland to Redding, okay? So, Manchester's been on the charts. Let's see. Willits has been on the charts a lot lately. Redwood Valley, there's been a lot of fires through here, you guys. A lot. Laytonville, what was it that red flagged me on Laytonville? The chart, oh, they started having quake swarms, and then now they just had a fire within the last couple days. So, you guys, these are obviously connected. Covello's had them. Let's get over here. And I'm just trying to show you guys, like, if this whole top part starts erupting and getting on fire and some of the things, how are they going to get out? You know, this is very troubling. Chico has had magma. Paradise is where the fire that people burned to the bone, they couldn't get out. They were trapped. That was last year. I did warn about that 3 days before it happened as well, about burning to the bone. Greggles had quake swarms. Portola. Verity, I think, has been on there. Reno, okay. There's been an explosion in Reno at a college. There's 2 volcanoes up here in this area, you guys, okay? Carson City area. This area has had surface rupture, ejection events, quake swarms, etc. Spanish Springs has had them. Cold Springs has had them. Incline Village has had them. And it's a volatile area up in Vegas, okay? Gosh, this is taking forever to do this, you guys. I'm so sorry it takes so long. I may just have to do several videos because we're going to go all the way to Kansas before we're done to show you how this thing has spread since the original video I did on the 7th, which took 2 days to upload, by the way. I mentioned on the video if they even let me upload it, and it took 2 days for me to get it uploaded. Brook Trails has had them. Okay. And these charts now up here, some days they look okay and some days they have magma. So, obviously things are going on up here. Petrolia, a couple days ago, these charts got a little bit thick with magma, thicker than normal. Rio Del's had swarms. Fortuna. I think Lolita's been on there. So, I mean, you guys, we're dealing up here where we're getting close to the Lassen volcano. And this thing is crazy. This volcano has had massive packed high pressure magma from before this event started, okay? Now, I don't know how it's manifested. I know there's been fires in these regions. Shingletown's been on there. Mineral's been in the swarms. Belden's been in the swarms. Greenville. Chester, I know, has been in there. I'm not sure about those two. But you guys, I checked fires for the last few years, and all through this far out, there's been fires. They just recently had a Doyle fire, which is somewhere along this line. And this is not close to the Lassen head, okay? This is how far out this, it can go. So this whole region is dangerous because of Lassen, and Shasta's had pressure. Redding's had fires. There's been fires up in Shasta area. So these are not fires, you guys. This is volcanic activity taking place. I'm sorry that you're being told it's fires. I think it's very troubling. I don't see why they wouldn't just be honest. Eureka has had incidents. They had quake swarms. McKinleyville, Arcata, Trinidad. I'm thinking of the Colorado one. Not that one. It hasn't. This part doesn't seem to be as bad, but it did flare. It has flared up a few times. Crescent City's been on the charts. Gasquet's been on the charts. Klamath has been on there. So, what we can ascertain from this is that this rock is moving, okay, all over this state, okay? And I'm not even getting into the other states yet because this video is taking so long just to show you this state. I have focused almost completely on California with a few, like, check here and there things on other states. But weed has had a lot. I mean, you guys, I followed this like a hawk, okay? There's been a lot of fires, a lot of really, troubling charts. Up here we've got, let me get to Lassen. I don't know if it'll show it on here. Okay, lava beds up here. There's Arnica Sink up here, you guys. And that chart, along with Lassen, has shown nothing but high pressure, packed magma for months. I mean, at least this entire event and beforehand. Bernie has had quake swarms. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that that first video, the speculate or the, you know, the revelation of what I gave to some may have seemed like speculation, but it is in fact happening. Okay. And when you have a whole state and there's been over 500 cities affected, Red Bluff has had them, Anderson has had them. I don't know if Yuba City itself has been on there. I'm not certain on that one. But when you have this many cities being affected by quake swarms in one state, okay, I haven't even got to the other states yet. Something is definitely wrong. Typically, when you have a, you know, like let's say you had an earthquake here in Bakersfield and you have aftershocks. The aftershocks are going to be in the same region as the quake, okay? That's another confirmation that what was told to you on the first video is accurate, because these are happening everywhere, the whole state. How are you going to have a quake in this region up here in Searles, and all of a sudden it's everywhere all over the state, okay? Unless it's something more serious, okay? They're not going to tell you. They don't want people to panic. These areas have also had the swarms. Beatty in Nevada, Ryan has had them, Shoshone has had them, Tacopa has had them, Pahrump has had them, and Pahrump has had surface rupture ejection events on multiple times. Prim has had the same. Good Springs, all these areas over here. Henderson has had a quake swarms. Vegas has had them now too, and Vegas just had a fire, eruptive thing go on yesterday, I believe. We've even had them over in Boulder. St. George has had them, okay? I mean, you guys, Colorado City, Kanab has had them, and there's been fires over here. Since that first video, there's been, at least that I've caught, I haven't even done a full search, at least 12 fires in this region. Just the region I pinpointed, you guys. Oh wait, I was like this, somewhere in this region. The first 9 were in the, shoot, where'd it go? Dang it. All right, thanks guys, appreciate you. They really don't want people to know all this stuff, you guys. But anyway, in this region where the Toronto Forest, the Cocosino Forest, Prescott, Arizona, Tempe had a fire, New River. I mean, look it up. There's been numerous fires in this area. We also have Boulder City that had a quake, was on the quake swarm list. And now that all the cities are gone, I can't go through this with you, which means that our video is coming to an end. One other thing I wanted to point out on this big system. Okay, a few days after I pointed this out about this being the main caldera up here, something happened. We started having quake swarms up here above it, right around here. There are several of them we've had, okay? Alaska has started kicking in and having a lot of volcanic activity, a lot of surface rupture ejection events, which and fires as well. Okay, but just a day or two after the video I did, they had Mount Wrangell. I saw the chart on the volcano, Alaska Volcano Observatory started going off, and I highlighted that and pointed it out. As soon as I did so, they deleted Mount Wrangell off of the Alaska Volcano Observatory list. Totally deleted it. But I have the chart on my wall. You can look at